Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be taking you through the process of making these collage masterboards. So this is not a new idea. There are lots and lots of different videos all around YouTube on collage masterboards, and I will link down below to some examples of collage masterboards. What I am using for this one though is some recycled packaging. So the bunched up paper packaging that you get in the post often has these little like perforations down the side, so they tear into these nice strips, and I thought this would be a nice format for us to work on to create some collage masterboards. So if you don't know what collage masterboards are, essentially a bit like making your own scrapbook paper. So using all your different scraps of papers, assembling them onto this board like this, and creating some like layers. So we have something that is a little thicker than paper. Mine's not quite as thick as card, but you can always like layer more paper on if that's what you're going for. And yeah, and then it basically makes your own kind of decorative paper. And oftentimes people will, you know, cut these up, make tags, postcards. There's so many different things you can do with these. So what you're going to need, like I showed you, is these strips of brown paper packaging. And if you don't have the ones with the perforations, then you can sort of cut and measure them. And I really like this format because it's like quite long and short. You can get some really interesting layouts and things with the paper, so you'll need that. And then go into your stash and just grab lots of different papers. So like book papers, when you've like taken the pages out of a book, doesn't matter what size they are, so they can be really small like this, or it can be larger pieces. If you have like thicker book papers, they will be really great as well. I've also got some thinner pieces. This is a quite thick piece as well. So go ahead and grab lots of different papers in any sort of colorway that you would like to work with. Obviously, I always pick neutral. And then obviously you will need a glue stick, maybe some scissors to trim around the edge. I'm also going to be doing some stamping, so grab any stamps that you like, maybe some background stamps or even some stencils. And then you can also use washi tape, so I just have a few of my favorites there. So really anything goes when it comes to these collage masterboards. Now you're going to want to grab a couple of sheets of your strips of paper. So because this is quite flimsy, we're going to just double up on the paper just so that we've got a sturdier base. So I'm just going to grab my glue stick and just go all around this piece of paper and glue it together. Now you could do 3 or 4 depending on the thickness of the collage masterboard that you are after. It all depends on maybe what you're going to use it for, but just for now I think 2 is okay because I'm going to be adding some papers on top of this anyway. And I really like using the brown paper because we've already got like a great base to work with. So once we glue things onto this side, we've got a nice craft background to work with. So I'm just going to press that down. So I'm just going to grab some pieces that I might want to use within this. And like I said, using some thick book paper is a great option. And essentially you're just going to assemble the papers onto your base, and there's not really any rules to this. You're just going to want to start adding papers onto it, and it doesn't really matter where they go, and you'll see as we go along I'm going to be overlapping things and pretty much completely covering up the background of this page with all the collage elements that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to come in, this is just some tea-dyed copy paper, and I'm just going to use this as my base. So you could start with the elements that are plainer and then build up into more detailed elements. It totally depends on what look you're after, and because this is going to be cut up, you don't need to worry too much about like how precise everything is and how it looks as a whole, because once you cut out a section, that's when you get those really interesting effects where you have like little bits of paper sort of here and there. So I'm just going to add this thicker piece here, and yeah, there's not really any kind of method to this other than just sticking the paper down. So I'm going to stick down my base of my larger pieces, and then I'll be back.
You say take me on a treasure hunt, I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see
So you just keep going until you're happy with how your base is looking, and then we can start working on some of the smaller elements, which will add more detail to our board. So I'm just going to add this because I really love the colour of this paper. And it doesn't matter if things are overlapping, that's kind of the point, because it adds the strength, and you don't want things sort of like rigidly up against one another. Having that overlap makes things seem a lot more cohesive, so don't be afraid to overlap things when you're doing this, and just have fun with the different combinations of patterns and colours and textures that you can get from your papers. Okay, so now we're going to start adding some smaller pieces to our collage board, so for example like this. And what I would suggest you do with pieces like this is to focus on these join areas that we've got that might look a little bit sort of awkward at the moment, and things where something overlapping would really kind of add to the cohesion. So here's just like a bunch of different like smaller scraps that I've got. Nothing is too small to be saved, so these are just some smaller pieces, and so just play around with what would work. So for example, something like this could be quite nice, maybe there, and just focus on the joins in your board, so maybe here as well. And adding contrast with your different papers is also a really great technique. So for example, we've got a lot of like neutrals here, so if we were to add like a piece that is bright white, that adds some nice contrast to this area of the board. So I'm just going to go through and just add these smaller bits to the board. So once you're happy with your base layer of collage, the next thing we want to add is some washi tape and also some stamping. So I'm going to pick just some neutral washi tape to add to this page. So I'm going to add some grids and also some detail black and whites, and then also some stars, which are my absolute favorites, but because we've got the pink already on this page, I think it will work quite well. And I'm just going to add this in random places. It doesn't really matter too much where you put them, because like I said, this is all going to get cut up anyway, so we're just going to add these. I probably want to put this piece where it will be able to be seen. Let's go there. I might add another one of those in another part of the board, so I get another piece as well once I cut this up. There we go. So just a few little pieces, and then I'm going to come in with some stamping. So I have my cherry blossom stamp here and just some vintage sepia ink, and I'm just going to stamp this down in a couple of different areas on the board where I think it might look quite nice. There we go. So I'll just add a couple. If you had like background stamps, so maybe like grids, you could add those. And then what I'm going to do is just come in and add some imagery. So I'm going to cut out this floral. You don't have to do this step because remember these will be cut up, but I think it gives a nice focal point on some of the elements once you break them apart to have like an image or something like that. So if you've got any bits of ephemera that you want to add, then this is a great stage to do that. It's almost a bit like a finishing piece, and I'm just going to add this one down the bottom here. So hopefully with the different papers that we've got, we should have a nice variety once we cut this apart. So there we go. So it doesn't have to be like too intricate or detailed. The whole point is to just create like a base of some collage papers that we can then work with.
Hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it.
So here are the two masterboards that we have created, and I will show you what they look like once they are chopped up. So to cut them up, I'm just using my paper trimmer, and what you'll want to do is think about where there are like focal points and things, and whether you want maybe strips or straight along. I think I'm going to cut straight along and then into sections, so maybe like 4 sections. So, and it doesn't matter if things get like trimmed off, that kind of adds to the interest. So I'll pop this one in here, and this floral image here, for example, then we will also have part of that on a separate piece. So I'll go for about here, and you'll just have to be careful if you've got quite a lot of collage on here that you don't get all stuck within your trimmer. So there we go. And you can see there we've got like bits of different collage within that. And so I'm just going to want to use this as a guide, just so that I get roughly the same piece from this. You could measure it if you want to be really precise and accurate, but that is not my style. So there we go. And yeah, just be careful with some of the papers because you will get some bunching, but you can just glue those back down if that happens. It's not the end of the world. There we go, and you can see we've got the other half of that image on this one here. And then I'm just going to do, I don't think I've left myself enough room, so I'll do roughly in half with this one. There we go, that was a lot smoother. Close enough. So the last one is a little bit skinnier. So you can see here we've got 4 longer pieces, and then what I think I'm going to do is trim them again into half, and then these become journal cards. And of course you could cut these to any size that you like, depending on which sections of the collage you would like to sort of keep together. That's really nice because you've got like a journaling spot there. And yeah, when you cut them up, it kind of becomes really interesting to see how things have been collaged together. So you kind of didn't have to think about collaging the individual ones, and it's really nice to see how they come together. So I'm going to probably do this one a little bit taller, just because I do want to keep some of that floral within that, and that's really nice as well. So yeah, that one's a little bit skinnier, but I really wanted to keep this one, so that looks really cute. So that is that one, and then I will also trim the one that we just made now and do the same, cut this into 4. So we've got 1, and then yeah, the flower's gonna get cut in half, but that is fine. So we'll go for about there. And then this one's going to be a bit wider, but that's fine. And then I'm just going to chop these in half as well. So yes, that one is very plain, so that will need some attention. That one's quite nice. There we go, we'll pop that one maybe about there. So yeah, some you might like more than others. So this one, the collage has come together really nicely to frame this middle section here. And then we'll pop this one about there. So some of them might have some nice space for writing, and others might just have a nice kind of background element. So what I'm going to do is come in with my corner rounder, and I find that this just really finishes the cards off. You do just have to be a little bit careful, because obviously we've got lots of layers of paper here, so you might have a little bit of trouble punching the corners out, so just bear that in mind. So there we have the finished journal cards ready to use in your junk journal, or maybe I'll use them in my altered book. But there's loads of different sizes and things you can do with these, so I hope you've enjoyed this collage masterboard project. I didn't intend to actually make journal cards, but here we are. I just wanted to show you how, you know, having a big strip of paper with all the different scraps can kind of transform into some really nice journal cards like this. I think these ones perhaps are my favorites. Where's the other one gone? There was another one I really liked. I've lost it. Oh, it was this one. So you can see it's really nice the way that they kind of organically have like spaces to write or things like that, nice layers. So yeah, it's a really fun project to do. There's loads of different, obviously, variations you can do with this and things you can use, different papers. So I hope you enjoy maybe giving this a go. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.